27th of March 2023. Welcome to the main news on Camnet TV. Let's look at some of the top stories in our news. 8-year-old boy shoots dead friend with grandfather's gun. Residents of LUSAKA'S garden compound go on rampage for the family of a suspect murderer. The Democracy Summit to improve Zambia democratic credentials. In our international headlines, Nigerian senator convicted in London organ trafficking case. And in sports, Zambia determined to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations. We have the details after this message.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for joining us to present the news. My name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. Now the news in detail. Changwe Municipal Council Public Relations Officer Cecilia Msonda says the local authority has noted with disappointment the low turnout in the monthly Keep Zambia Clean exercise within the district. In an interview, Ms. Msonda further notes that this makes sad reading as the same community members are the ones indiscriminately disposing of waste. She notes that such exercise within the community also provides a platform for community education on the dangers of indiscriminate waste disposal.
Very sad, I must say, that despite all our efforts to try and work together with our communities and the various stakeholders in trying to keep our district clean, the turnout is always very, very low. It's sad, especially that the same members of the community who we should be working with in trying to clean our district are the same people who are disposing of waste indiscriminately. This is very unfortunate, and it only makes our work very difficult as a local authority. However, as a local authority, we certainly are on top of our game. We get to spearhead and coordinate all the cleaning exercise in the CBD as well as in the residential areas. In the residential areas, normally we get to work with our civic leaders who get to coordinate those activities and ensure that the cleaning exercise is done in a coordinated manner. So owing to this reason, government released a circular dated 2nd March 2023, directing that we now conduct the cleaning exercise on Fridays. That is every Fridays every week. This is to ensure that we get maximum participation from the general public. And to this effect, as Chongo Municipal Council, we shall continue to enforce compliance.
Residents of Garden Chilulu compound in Lusaka Monday morning attempted to vandalize the house belonging to the parents of Nalukwi Akafekwa, who is the prime suspect in the recent murder of Chikondi Banda, a 10-year-old boy from the same community. The irate members of the community are of the view that the suspect should be released and handed over to the community, as he himself has confessed to committing the crime, so that they can take revenge for the deceased. On 16th March 2023, the boy was allegedly kidnapped on his way home from his school, with the alleged kidnappers demanding 12,000 kwacha ransom, but was later discovered dead in a drainage passing along a maize field in Emersdale area. Details are in this report.
He was with him from 17 hours. Uncle, shoo. I gotta compare Kochifundo, that boy,
Imagine living in a close-knit community with neighbors who are there to offer a sense of security should anything happen. only to discover that a close neighbor is the prime suspect in the kidnap and murder of your child. This is the case unfolding in Lusaka's Garden Chilulu compound, where a suspect identified by the Zambia police as Nalukui Akafekwa 24, a close neighbor, is the prime suspect in the murder of a 10-year-old boy identified as Chikondi Banda, who went missing on 16th March 2023 on his way back from school. According to the Zambia police, the alleged killers of the boy were demanding 12,000 kwacha ransom, and the boy was later found dead in a drainage passing through a maize field in Emersdale area. The Zambia police have so far arrested 3 people in connection to the same, while the prime suspect has confessed to the murder. Monday morning, scores of irate residents marched to the house belonging to the parents of Nalukui Akafekwa, the prime suspect, in a bid to break it down, a situation which led to confusion.
Kuno kuri problem yakuti mwana izana chitwa kidnap apezikapa mae challenge amneta pesa akuti bantu wapopanga chongo kuno yeti nyumba ili innocent baja bantu wenzo renting hapa si abo nyumba bati wapopanya nyumba yeti you mean muntu angabale mwana kuti angvomekeza chitefa upu niweka yele makolo siwa maziwa kuti mwana za chita chance so boma ilanganepo.
While this was happening outside, the family of the deceased were gathered at their house and are calling for justice, stating that the alleged killer is a well-known intercessor at a named church.
Should know that people should know is that the same boy is a son to a policewoman.
Yeah, the mother.
The mother to the boy who killed my grandson is a son to the policewoman. And I don't want that woman, that mother to that criminal to disturb, to jeopardize.
Yeah.
What we want is otherwise, we want him also to be dead. Just imagine a 24-year-old, an intercessor, please.
That boy didn't deserve to die like that. He didn't deserve to die like that. Why? Why did he do that? Why did he do that? If he needed money, money is nothing. We could have given him money. He asked for money. He asked for 12,000 kwacha, and yet he had already killed.
The mother of the boy was, however, inconsolable and not in a position to talk. It only took efforts of Ngwerewa 22 Councillor Adrian Banda and the Zambia police to discourage the crowd from undertaking the act. For now, police patrols are being undertaken to ensure sanity in the community, while the suspects are being held at Emersdale Police Station. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And in other news, residents of Nkata area in Lima Ward 30 of Lusaka's George compound have threatened to lynch suspected wizards in the area after a small coffin was found on the doorsteps of one of the houses in the early hours of Monday morning. Speaking to Camnet TV News, the resident states that the coffin also had blood, chicken feathers and red clothes tied together inside it. By broadcast time, the community members were looking for a man of God to help in prayers, as men of God within the community chose to stay away. We have details in this report.
Despite being in a Christian nation, residents of Nkata area under Lima Ward 30 in Lusaka's George compound were at pains in finding a man of God to conduct prayers Monday morning after a small coffin with a cross painted on it was found at one of the doorsteps of the houses. Inside the coffin was what looked like blood, chicken feathers, and some sticks with red cloths around them, causing the members to suspect that it was a witchcraft ritual. While dismissed as basic superstition, such incidences weigh heavy on citizens in Zambia, as many believe in the existence of God and the existence of evil spirits, with such cases suspected to be aimed at killing the house owner. Camnet News spoke to the owner of the house, who has expressed fear.
Ileni kamba wamena cheza leta coffee akela sembenzani bwela che direct then kuleta ka coffee kafene sina la kuya muntu nepempela mulungu wanga wamene wakumwamba ni mapempela zabo nimengela nkondo siko momuza bwele futhi apwela alipai.
Other residents have threatened to give a beating to the suspect if found.
Ifeshangala choti dabwisa kubwera mukupeza kuti pamulyango pa muntu papezeka blood then kofini so chioneka monga kuti ni vijava kuti kapena ezabwera mukusambirapo then after asambirapo manje ndiye mwamene ataira ka kofi so manje changala choti dabwisa ni vichani pamene vambo chitika mwa George muntu ivavika mumbokoshi so vyasi mukangalelo kuti afichite kuti epae Kwa chifukwa mno mwa George mwendo asime uyu muntu uyu achikana lelo kuti wakumbuke ebe byalero byasokoloka kuita byaba Yesu Kristu we bantu baje tule pepa mama byabo kuna miracles mno mwa George.
Lima Ward 30 Councillor Daniel Mwewa has also commented on the incident.
So we've woken up to the horror scene here in Lima Ward at the area called Nkata, where a coffin, this coffin, as you can see it was actually dropped at the house, at the doorstep of a certain house just nearby there, by unknown people. So on top of it there was blood, and then there were chicken feathers on top of it, and it was tied by a red tape. This is very sad for us, and the blood which was there actually it was fresh. So the neighbors, the passerby there saw this, and then they alerted the owner of the house. So this is very sad. We are shocked. We don't even know what to say. So at this moment, as we speak, the owner of the house has gone to call the man of God to come and pray for the house and deliverance and everything.
While some were moving about looking for a man of God who was willing to pray for the affected family, others decided to take the matter into their own hands and decided to burn the coffin. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A grade 11 pupil of Lufanyama boarding school has been arrested for stabbing his two schoolmates using a sharp instrument. Copperbelt Police Commissioner Piswa Mwemba has confirmed the arrest of a boy in a statement made available to the media in Lufanyama district. Mr. Mwemba explained that the incident happened on March 25, 2023, after the suspect, aged 18, had a misunderstanding with his school prefect who tried to control him over school rules around 19:30 hours. He says it was at this point that the boy stabbed his two other colleagues after they tried to advise him to heed their prefect's advice while they were at the school dormitory. Mr. Mwemba added that the suspect produced a screwdriver-like sharp instrument from his pocket and stabbed 17-year-old Mapalo Banda twice in the left side of the chest and Kelvin Kameya, aged 17, in the palm. The Copperbelt Police Commissioner says the victims immediately reported the incident to the school management, who had the suspect arrested by police. Meanwhile, the police commissioner said the two victims were rushed to Lufanyama District Hospital, where they are receiving medical attention. In other sad development, an 8-year-old boy from LUSAKA'S Chawama compound has shot dead his 13-year-old friend using his grandfather's gun. Now, the boy, whose identity has been withheld for security purposes, is alleged to have shot his friend, the victim, while he was showing him his grandfather's gun. Meanwhile, police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale has confirmed the incident and investigations have been instituted. We have details by Miriam Kayimba.
At only 8 years old, this little boy of LUSAKA'S Makeni East in Chawama constituency has failed to understand exactly what might have happened. What seems like a normal play out with his friend turned into a tragedy after he allegedly shot dead his 11-year-old friend using his grandfather's firearm. Upon arriving at the crime scene, the deceased mother could not handle the news. Eyewitnesses were traumatized and failed to explain what transpired. However, information obtained on the ground has revealed that the juvenile invited the deceased, identified as John Sakala, to his house so that he could have a look at a firearm his grandfather owns. Full of excitement, wanting to show his friend the firearm, the little boy allegedly pulled the trigger, killing his friend instantly. Some of the eyewitnesses spoken to have expressed concern and urged parents fond of keeping firearms to place such in much secured area.
Let's hear a gunshot. We are the one who took the boy to the police. Since I was not there. And we have to secure the guns as parents. When we have guns at home, we know that we've got children. So we have to secure those guns.
We need security for our little ones. Yeah, because this is sad. We need to look out for our kids, whom they are hanging around with. We need to know and take good care of our children.
According to eyewitnesses, the grandfather of the 8-year-old boy, aged 72 years old, is a retired Zambia Army officer. Meanwhile, police spokesperson Danny Mwale says the firearm was already loaded.
Police suspect that the firearm was already loaded with ammunition by the owner, identified as Mason Nyirenda, aged 72, of Makeni East. The body of the deceased has been taken to the University Teaching Hospital mortuary, awaiting post-mortem, while Mr. Nyirenda has been charged and arrested with the offense of failing to secure a firearm, while the boy, who has shot at his friend, has been taken to the social welfare for safe custody.
While at the crime scene, we were reminded that police officers needed more vehicles to effectively curb crimes in communities. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Ministry of Education says it has, in the last 4 years, collected 312 million kwacha from the student loan recoveries compared to 8 million kwacha in 2018. Speaking at the launch of the 5-year strategic plan for the Higher Education Loans and Scholarship Board in Lusaka Monday, Education Minister Douglas Yakalima, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary Joe Kamoka, says the government is putting up measures to ensure that more resources are recovered. Mr. Kamoko says this will allow for more students to be supported, considering the introduction of free education, which is likely to see more pupils completing their education. Meanwhile, Acting Loan and Scholarship Board Chief Executive Officer Floyd Ndalalula says the plan for the next 5 years will guide the administration of loans and scholarships, loan recoveries, investment and resource mobilization. More in this report.
The Higher Education Loans and Scholarship Board has launched its 5-year strategic plan, which will guide the administration of loans and scholarships, loan recoveries, investment and resource mobilization. Ministry of Higher Education Permanent Secretary Joel Kamoko was guest of honor at the event and represented the Education Minister Douglas Yakalima. And speaking during the launch, the Permanent Secretary has announced that the student loan recoveries have increased from 8 million in 2018 to 320 million kwacha as of February in 2023, representing an increase of 312 million kwacha in the last 4 years.
The number of public universities supported through helps increased from 2 to 7, and the number of students accessing student loans in the 7 public universities increased to 24,000 in 2022 compared to 17,444 in 2021. The student loan recoveries have increased from 8 million in 2018 to 320 million as at February in 2023.
The Permanent Secretary has also tasked the board to come up with mechanisms of raising more resources so that more students can be supported now that the introduction of free education has seen an increase in the number of pupils who will be completing high school.
And I'm hoping you've not forgotten what we learned there. We want this country to create you to be a creature that will reach out, like we saw in Ghana, expanding universities, expanding schools, making a loan available to whoever wants it. I guess my headache as minister is to help you reach that point, to go outside our current limits. It means you are being encouraged to think outside the box.
Meanwhile, Acting Loans and Scholarship Board Chief Executive Officer Floyd Ndalalula says the 5-year plan that has been launched to guide the administration of resources and scholarships, loan recoveries, investment and resource mobilization.
We are committed and determined that by the end of 2026, we will report on the achievements of this strategy through both statistics and indeed through an improved public view of the institution. Therefore, we anticipate that the prospective students, the beneficiaries, and the general citizenry will be our brand ambassadors.
Many students have failed to pursue their tertiary education due to lack of resources, and in most cases, the Students and Loan Scholarship Board has failed to provide them with the much-needed support. With the launch of the plan, the wish of many is to see to it that more students are supported under the program. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
An immigration officer has told the Economic and Financial Crimes Court that investigations revealed that a stamp of entry in the country in one of Findlay's passports had unclear security details. Moses Chulu, the officer in charge at Mwami border post, told Magistrate Sylvia Munyinya that the stamp on Findlay's also had blared serial numbers and the word Mwami was not showing. Meanwhile, Mr. Chulu said the passport had a corresponding stamp showing that Findlay exited Malawi using Mochinji border. The witness was testifying in the matter in which Findlay is facing 2 counts of holding more than 1 passport and being in possession of endorsements of forged immigration stamps. It is alleged in count 1 that Findlay on October 3rd, 2022 in Lusaka did acquire a Zambian passport number ZP 021382, purporting to have lost a Zambian passport number ZP 013259, contrary to the fact. In count 2, it is alleged that on the same date, Findlay was found in possession of endorsements of forged immigration stamps for Mwami Immigration Border Control in his passport number ZP 032178, purporting that it was officially endorsed when in fact not. A detective chief inspector based at Force Headquarters Crime 1 Department has told court that he made up his mind to arrest Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda after establishing that he issued defamatory words against the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. When the matter came up for continued trial Monday, Officer Innocent Makukwani narrated that the words allegedly uttered by Mr. Nakachinda that the president was summoning judges and coercing them to take the country into one-party state was defamatory in nature. In this matter, Mr. Nakachinda is accused of defaming President Hakainde Hichilema in 2021. Meanwhile, speaking shortly after his court appearance, Mr. Nakachinda has indicated that the coming of the Vice President of the U.S. to Zambia presents an opportune time for President Hakainde Hichilema to express his commitment to the ethics, principles and values of Zambians. Details are in this report.
The state Monday morning closed its case in a matter in which Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda is accused of defaming the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. This was after they presented their last prosecution witness, a one Detective Chief Inspector Innocent Makwani, who testified how he was left with no option but to charge the accused with the alleged offense following his investigations. The Detective Chief Inspector based at Force Headquarters Crime 1 Department told Magistrate Irene Wishmanga that he made up his mind to arrest Mr. Nakachinda after establishing that the accused issued defamatory remarks against the Republican president. According to the witness, he narrated that the words allegedly uttered by Mr. Nakachinda that the president was summoning judges and coercing them to take the country into a one-party state was defamatory in nature. In this matter, Mr. Nakachinda is accused of defaming President Hakainde Hichilema in 2021 at the High Court grounds. According to charges before court, Mr. Nakachinda is further alleged to have accused the head of state of summoning judges at his private residence, intimidating and coercing them to frustrate PF legal battles. Meanwhile, speaking shortly after his appearance before court, Mr. Nakachinda had this to say.
A challenge to UNZA. UNZA must do two things, if not three things. One, the University of Zambia should tell us whether Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was attending class or absconding. And if he was attending class, would want to know whether really the University of Zambia is producing sound economists. Because one of the reasons for which he was entrusted with the responsibility of being president is because he marketed himself as one that would manage the economy better. And looking at his performance, we throw a challenge to the University of Zambia to recall that degree, because it is damaging the reputation of that high institution. If not, if the products are with what the standards so far exhibited by Ms. Hakainde Hichilema, they may have to close the School of Economics at University of Zambia, because the performance is not only embarrassing, but it has caused untold misery on the people of Zambia.
Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A historian from the University of Zambia has urged the Zambian government to protect the country's principles and values even as it hosts the Democracy Summit. Professor Bizek Piri, who said the Democracy Summit will enhance the country's democratic credentials, was however quick to state that Zambia should uphold the non-aligned status in the wake of the Russia-Ukraine war. Professor Piri says Zambia must not be persuaded into endorsing things it does not believe in. The theme for the summit is free, fair and transparent elections as the foundation of democratic governance. However, Camnet TV understands that U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is coming to Zambia to strengthen development cooperation between the two countries in sectors of mutual interest. Details are in this report.
The United States of America is co-hosting the second Summit for Democracy with governments of Costa Rica, the Netherlands, Republic of Korea, and the Republic of Zambia. The second Summit for Democracy will assemble world leaders in a virtual plenary format followed by gatherings in each of the co-hosted countries with representatives from the government, the civil society, and the private sector. The visit of U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is not without negative sentiments from the government critics who feel the U.S. is coming to impose its values on Zambia, such as issues pertaining to the LGBTQ and persuading Zambia to take a side in the Russia-Ukraine war. The claims which the Zambian government has refuted on several occasions. We spoke to a historian from the University of Zambia, Professor Bizek Piri, on the significance of Zambia hosting the Democracy Summit.
For Zambia to have been chosen is in itself a reflection that our democracy and how we have been conducting our politics in this country has been recognized, and that we are moving in the right direction in terms of democracy.
And when asked about the allegations that the United States wants to persuade Zambia to align itself to its beliefs and principles, Professor Piri had this to say.
Our leaders must be very careful that as they are participating in this conference that is coming, they are not giving in to pressures which will make Zambia go the wrong way and betray the Zambian people. we have our own cultural values. The issues that you have raised, that perhaps because the Americans are coming in, they will push Zambia to say, no, can you support gayism and so on and so forth. Those are issues that our leaders should protect the Zambians, should not fall to. Indeed, we need the support, economic and so on and so forth, but we should not do things which are against our own values as a people.
We also spoke to the social scientist Innocent Kolala, who acknowledged that Zambia's democratic credentials will improve for co-hosting the summit.
Democratically, the country is going to go high because we'll be respected the entire world to say Zambia is amongst such countries which indeed demonstrate the principles of democracy. This has been demonstrated before, where we have seen that we have given power to each other without creating any anarchy in the country or even dropping a blood.
He has, however, condemned and discouraged the Opposition Patriotic Front from protesting against the summit and the visit by the U.S. Vice President.
Our preamble of our constitution that we need to ensure as a country, we need to ensure that we uphold the tenets of democracy. Since we have chosen as a country to run by using the leadership of democracy, why should they demonstrate for that? Ideally, what we expected as Zambians for them to demonstrate on is some of the issues which they themselves promised.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
You are watching the main news on Camnet TV. Just now we take our first set of commercials. When we get back, we have more local stories. Do join us when we get back.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Mbarala Member of Parliament Joseph Musanje says the Patriotic Front Party, PF, is a bitter party after losing the election by 1 million votes, and that they are trying to criticize everything that the UPND administration is doing. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Musanje invited all the Patriotic Front members to attend the Democratic Summit and learn more about how democracy operates as opposed to making unsubstantial allegations. He says the allegations that the summit is meant to promote LGBTQ are not true, as it is meant to swell the public from the real issues. He says the ranking of Zambia as the best democratic country in Africa by African Barometer is evidence that the UPND has made tremendous progress in bringing order to the country.
So after losing power by over 1 million votes, the PF is so annoyed. They are doing everything like a barking dog, trying to make as much noise as possible to criticize these new developments. People are free. They are free to choose the way they chose. 2.8 million people chose him and the party to rule, and as such, that we are leaving it, we are allowing it. We are allowing the opposition to participate in national events. We are allowing them to participate in the by-elections. We are allowing them, but the only thing is that they are losing always. So when they are losing, they have to find something to back on, and they are just backing, making noise without anything realistic. So the conference will be here. They will learn about democracy. Let them come and attend so that they can learn about democracy and how we are supposed to live together in peace. Not the noise they are making, talking about things that are not there. Things they are talking about, there is no LGBT there. It's talk about democracy.
United Party for National Development Deputy National Youth Chairperson Trevor Mwinde has backed calls by the 10 UPND Provincial Youth Chairpersons for the dismissal of Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Director General Barry Lwando on grounds that he is politically aligned to the former ruling Patriotic Front Party. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Mwinde says the youths are in their right standing to condemn the appointment of a PF-aligned individual to such a sensitive institution amidst many qualified neutral citizens. He has also defended the appointment of Zambia Information and Communication Technology ZICTA Board Chairperson Mundia Muya, despite him being an aspiring UPND candidate for Nalolo constituency in 2021. He states that the national broadcaster is a different case as it borders on information dissemination, hence the need to ensure professionalism with no political influence. On Thursday, 24th March 2023, 10 UPND provincial youth chairpersons made the said demands, stating that they will not sit and watch a politically inclined individual man the national broadcaster.
People must have a sense of shame. The PF appointed everybody that was PF in all portfolios that which needed to have influence. And at this time around, you want to start fighting Dr. Mundia for no apparent reasons and compare them with the appointment of DG at ZNBC. We know that at ZICTA there is a lot of work to be done. We know that at ZICTA there are a lot of people that are not aligned to the current regime and are still holding very sensitive and influential decision-making positions. But look, above all, His Excellency was very clear. At his inauguration, he said there are two things that which needed one to get a job. One needed to be a Zambian, first of all. Secondly, one needed to have the competence. So for those people that have been given the job to do for the country, we expect them to show us their competences to the highest of their abilities. Other than that, we do wish them all the very best as they serve their country, Zambia, because there is life beyond politics. And I don't think also that there is no fire where there is a smoke. So we want to also, in as much as we wish the people to discharge their functions very well, we want also to advise them to push the agenda in a very neutral way without hurting a lot of people in those institutions, especially that the entry point has been very rough.
Northwestern Provincial Agriculture Coordinator in the Ministry of Agriculture, Muyowo Shimawale, has implored on his staff in the province to provide suitable advisory services to enable farmers adopt new farming technologies through implementation of expansion of community-based smallholder irrigation development projects. Mr. Shimawale says the project is aimed at improving the livelihoods of farmers producing crops through irrigation development. He has emphasized that expansion of community-based smallholder irrigation project will boost farmers' production through irrigation development, thereby increasing household incomes and food security of community-based smallholder farmers in the province. The Provincial Agriculture Coordinator was speaking in a speech read for him by Provincial Agriculture Planner Dickson Musema when he opened 5 days 2023 kickoff training for Northwestern as among the new target provinces held at Kiafukuma Farm Institute in Solwezi.
Ought to be inculcated in the minds of the farmers as a business, not just as a way of life. Therefore, I wish to implore upon you to take this training very seriously because you are the change agents on the ground. Our role as a ministry is to improve the livelihoods of our farmers and the country at large by enhancing food security as well as income security, so that we have healthy farmers and a healthy population. And being the change agents, it's our mandate and responsibility to ensure that we change the mindsets of farmers in such a way that they are able to apply modern technologies. We want our farmers to be growing crops throughout the year. We don't want to have a rain-dependent agriculture system as a country. So we are glad that we have cooperating partners like JICA who are coming in handy to promote irrigation. The primary objective of this project, sponsored by JICA, for which we are grateful, is to improve food security, increase income levels for our farmers, using sustainable technologies that are environmentally friendly.
Because we are now introducing wheat as part of the project, we have also called crops officers from selected 4 districts to come and be part of this training.
We'll take our last break. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RainGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. In our international news, Chad's interim president, Mohamed Idris Deby, has pardoned 380 rebels from Group the Front for Change and Concord in Charge FACT. They were part of a group of 400 people who were handed life sentences last Tuesday in connection with the 2021 death of his father, the country's longtime ruler Idris Deby. He was killed when he went to visit troops fighting FACT on the front line in northern Chad. The group had launched an offensive earlier that year from bases in Libya. The rebels were found guilty of terrorism, undermining national security, endangering the life of the head of state, and the recruitment of children, among other charges. Here's a roundup of international news for more news.
A senior Nigerian politician and his wife have been found guilty in the UK of involvement in organ harvesting to provide a kidney for their daughter. Ike Ekwe Amadu, who was deputy president of the Nigerian Senate, and his wife Beatrice were accused of arranging for a Nigerian street trader to come to the UK to provide a kidney for their daughter Sonia. If the transplant had gone ahead at the hospital, it would have cost the couple around €90,000. The victim believed he was being taken to London for work and that he'd be paid thousands of euros, prosecutors said. And to get him a visa for the UK, the couple claimed the man was their daughter's cousin. Kidney donations are lawful in the UK, but it's a crime to pay someone to donate. The verdict is the first to convict suspects of an organ harvesting conspiracy under the UK's modern slavery laws. Sonia Ekweremadu was found to be innocent.
Chad's interim president Mohamed Idris Deby has pardoned 380 rebels from the group the Front for Change and Concord in Chad, or FACT. They were handed life sentences last Tuesday in connection with the 2021 death of his father and the country's longtime ruler Idris Deby Itno. The rebels were found guilty of acts of terrorism, undermining national security, endangering the life of the head of state and recruitment of children, among other charges. Deby Sr. was killed when he went to visit troops fighting FACT on the front line in northern Chad. Not included in the presidential pardon is the rebel group's leader, Mohammed Mahdi Ali. Deby was installed by the military junta after his father's death. FACT has not taken part in peace talks he's held with various rebel groups since then, saying the interim authorities needed to make gestures of peace first, including releasing prisoners. Deby had promised to hold democratic elections after 18 months, which would have fallen in October 2022, but has now said the vote will take place in 2024.
Botswana's former president could be a candidate to watch out for in the nation's upcoming general elections. Ian Khama, who is exiled, stands for presidency of his party next month. He claims his successor has become a threat to democracy in South Africa since 2021. Khama says he possesses intelligence information on plans to harm him if he returns home. He believes the authorities fear his influence.
They still got a lot of influence on the people of Botswana to be able to sway them. Not that they need swaying, I think they've pretty much made up their own minds now that regime change should take place.
Once in Botswana, where elections are due next year, Khama should bolster the opposition into a coalition to beat standing President Masisi in the ballot box. Khama quit the long-ruling Botswana Democratic Party, which was co-founded by his father.
I have to fix the mistake I made in appointing Masisi to be my successor, and it's important that before the elections I try and join with the other parties to ensure that he and his party are removed. It was a huge mistake, one that I think we are all regretting as a country, because he's totally undermined democracy, human rights, the rule of law, interfered with the judiciary.
The war between Khama and Masisi started after Khama resigned in 2018. Masisi began reversing some key policies adopted during his predecessor's tenure. In an address to ruling party rally in January, Masisi struck a reconciliatory note.
That is what the news now. International news. Time now for sports. Polo coach Avram Grant says the national team is on course and is determined to get to the Africa Cup. Grant says the game played against Lesotho Sunday was not easy for the boys, but the team remained determined to finish strong. He says the players have shown that they have a lot of passion to win the matches and that the determination shown in the second half of the game is evident that the team is coordinating well. He, however, says the team still has to face Ivory Coast and Comoros in order to qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations. He said this at the post-match press conference after the two goals to win over Lesotho in the Africa Cup in the AFCON qualifier.
It was not an easy game for us. They blocked the areas very well, but they found a way to score 2 goals, and I think we missed 4 or 5 more chances. The players played good. Second half was much better, even the players was tired, but they show also again good mentality, and I'm happy for this win and 6 points. and we continue our way to improve our game and to win African. The second half was better. We moved the ball more faster. We create really many chances, and the defense is also a good job. About our chances to Africa, when we have 9 points, we have more chances than before, but still nothing is finished yet. We need to play against Ivory Coast and we need to play against Comoros and to finish the job then. But I think we are on the right way. Yes, of course, I know the players now, I think, very well. It was good for me also. We didn't have many trainings that we can train. The last players arrived from Europe 2 days before, and between games we couldn't do much. But the players really, they are very good as a persons, and have a lot of passion to improve their game. And you saw, second half it was the best half that we had from the last 4 games. And the first game they showed a lot of mentality. Today was, especially second half, good football. Scored 2 goals. I'm happy. Of course, I know the players better. They know me, but each game it will be better.
And that is all the news that we had for you this evening. Thank you so much for watching. But before we go, we look at some of the top stories that made the news. 8-year-old boy shoots dead friend with grandfather's gun. Residents of Lusaka's garden compound go on rampage for the family of a suspect murderer. The Democracy Summit to improve Zambia democratic credentials. In our international headlines, Nigerian senator convicted in London organ trafficking case. And finally, Zambia determined to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day coming from John 3, verse 17. God sent his Son into the world not to judge the world, but to save the world through him. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisiana Lupumwes. Bye for now. God bless and enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.